section, like at the bottom, very bottom corner, you know, where she could still claim that she cared about the issue, but it's no longer her immigration section. And then yesterday she wants to tweet out abolish ICE. Like, she doesn't believe it anymore. She's voted to fund ICE multiple times without fighting it, right? Why aren't you talking about this shit? Because the people who are supposedly on your team are making you look really goddamn bad. And yet you seem to be completely and totally unconcerned with this. And the people like Trump supporters, you feel like you have to go out and vilify, demonize, and make fun of and belittle. Emphasis on little, with your little ass. You don't want to reach out to them, but like, and you think that they look goofy, but y'all over here running behind AOC like, show us to the promised land. Oh my God. And everybody else is laughing at y'all.
Yeah. And AOC, just to reiterate that shit's dangerous, Niko. It's dangerous where they're going right now. The fraud squad, the Cori Bushes and the AOCs, they're like all about the domestic terrorism, censorship. Anybody who questions elections got to be flogged and shut up. And, you know, somebody puts down on the stream over here, this guy Gene Whitworth, right? And he says, did you see the actual evidence from Greg Palast? The fraud favored Trump heavily. Well, no, Greg Palast was 1,000% wrong when he said that how Trump's going to steal the election. And you really believe that Joe Biden got more than 12 million more votes than Obama, and there was some fraud included that really went to Trump's favor? Let me just say this much in the election integrity world, because I'm out there talking to activists, talking to a lot of people on both sides right now.
And can I just say, Pasta, literally, there's no one else in this entire country who watches more hearings than Pasta does. Like, sweet baby Jesus.
Well, all those Trump people. I know. I watched every single hearing because I knew that's where there's going to be a lot of valuable information to sift through the bullshit. And that's why today, with Whitney Webb coming on, I'm questioning everything. Like, is this one whole thing kabuki theater? Because the things that were distracting overshadowed the actual fraud and rigging and the systems we have to fix on the left, because they said stupid shit like the ghost of Hugo Chavez passed and that China was really pulling the strings and that illegal immigrants can really swing an election, when all those things aren't true. And they immediately turn off people on the left like Status Quo and Jen and whatnot, where they don't listen to the stuff. But everything else they were saying was so true. And a lot of Trumpers watched all these hearings like I did. We spent hours and hours watching these hearings because there was some really valuable information from great witnesses and people in software and technology. When it comes to Greg Palast in the election integrity world, he covers one small sliver part of election integrity.
Yeah,
he covers suppression. He's made a lot of money. He covers suppression. And I'm not saying suppression doesn't exist and that sometimes it's not racially motivated, but his theory is that anytime these books are changed, the poll books are cleaned or whatnot, because people move, people die, people do this, that it's automatically racially motivated, whatnot. When I say it's not just racially motivated nowadays, it's more politically motivated. And there's other forms of suppression going on when you talk about the way these drop boxes are put out.
Interstate cross-check in general. And but the main problem I have with Greg Palast is the problem I've always had with him. Even though I respect his research and I respect what he's done, but like, it's clear that whenever it's the Democrats running in their primary, all of a sudden it's, oh yeah, the Democrats are perfectly capable of engaging in interstate cross-check and other forms of election fraud. Then the moment we get into the general, oh nope, it's only Republicans. They're the only ones who do it. Like, no, Democrats gerrymander, Democrats purge black voters. As a matter of fact, they purge the black voters before they even get to the goddamn general election.
That's the thing. And he admits that. He admitted that on Max Kaiser. He says the actual vote that's trying to be stolen in the general, the Republicans are stealing. The Democrats stole it in the primary. Okay. So by default, if you rig a primary, you automatically rig a general. I don't know this fucking theory. Maybe it's because, you know, once again, like I said, I'm a high school kid I have a high school degree, some college, and I'm rocking on this show right now. I come from pool halls where I used to hang out. What kind of schmuck is thinking is going to do half a fucking steal, half a scam? What they're trying to say that they're only treating the primaries, not treating the general, is like saying they're going to go rushing into a bank, clock the guns, fire in the air, say, put all the money in the bag. But before they put the money in the bag, they grab the bags and run out. I mean, that's what your theory is. You know what I'm saying? And there's all these other things that people are bringing up on the chat right now in the Rockfin, which Greg never talks about. He never talks about the struggle for data, the way activists, other grassroots candidates, the people, the citizens try to get a hold of data so they can have checks and balances on their elections, and they never let us have it. They never give it to us, which was the thesis of this last election. They never let us have a proper audit.
Challenge to get the data.
Yes. And now in states all around, look at what your secretaries of states are doing. Alex Padilla just introduced new rules which would prevent even it would put more roadblocks up. It would be harder to get data on these registration polls beforehand. And pretty much he lets the election official or himself, the Secretary of State, be judge and jury and say, I think you're trying to require this data on false pretenses. You're not doing it in good faith. Here's a letter. I'm not giving it to you. So, I mean, he doesn't ever talk about that. He never talks about the software. He never talked about how dangerous it could be, the mail-in system, how it is ripe for fraud. I know the Democrats want us to have this coming to Jesus moment and say that, oh, mail-in's better. It's more about inclusivity. We get more people involved this way. More people can vote. No, when you have to judge an elections by its securities. You can't judge it by the convenience. You can't, in other words, you can't sacrifice integrity for convenience. There are too many things that can go wrong when you shotgun these ballots out everywhere on a registration list that hasn't been updated. There's just going to be too many areas ripe for fraud. And then you have the ballot harvesting, which I wish Mike Figueredo would get back to me when he says that ballot harvesting is okay. I'd like to debate him on that. I can walk in with 1,000 ballots.
Just have in North Carolina and flipped an election.
It's ridiculous, Nico.
And by the way, it was the Republicans who actually were guilty of it in North Carolina. So, like, it hurt the Democrats, and it wasn't okay. Ballot harvesting was literally not okay.
And I think people need to get away of this whole kind of mentality that it's Republicans and Democrats. No, it's the establishment. The establishment working together to fix the elections.
Yeah, that's facts. So, let me check out a couple of these super chats really quick. Darren Levy, thank you very much. Emma is comfortable with Biden and the Dems as she has secure employment and access to health care. No wonder she smears people like Jimmy who are actually fighting for others in more need. 100% agree, Darren. Appreciate the super chat. I know there's a couple more down here. Bethlehem, what's going on? Thank you so much for the super chat. I cringed every time Jimmy has him on his platform. Oh, referring to Jordan. Yeah, I know, but hey, look. Yesterday, Jordan did not receive a warm welcome. He was getting ate the fuck up in that comment section. And
it was none of us. It was none of us. It was none of us. We didn't tell people to go there and do shit. We didn't say shit.
I went to the comment section because people were texting me saying, yo, Jordan's getting ate up in the comment section. That's where I went. But yeah, so I'm at, and by the way, the public pressure is likely what caused Jimmy to eventually ask, like, yo, so what's up with this tweet? Because that's when you started seeing Jordan go into full defense mode on Twitter. Because before he went on Jimmy's show, he's kind of like, oh, whatever. Like, I'm just going to ignore him. Because that's what he does when no one notices his fuck shit. But then when he went on Jimmy's show and everybody calls him out in the comment section, and then Jimmy says, well, what about this tweet right here? Hey.
Yeah.
And now you look like a whole ass hypocrite. Like, which is why, by the way, give us information, by the way. If you get new information that may contradict something we've said on the show, we welcome that type of shit. I love it, actually, because I love learning stuff, that like new stuff. I honestly like sometimes being wrong, because if I'm wrong about something, that means I did just learn something new. And I've been giving people the wrong information this entire time, which happens maybe. So, and that goes for, I'm sure that goes for every honest and well-meaning journalist. We appreciate you giving us receipts because it helps us deliver the news correctly. Wit to Wit, thank you very much for the super chat. Said thank you for your hard work. Thank you for constantly tuning in to our hard work. But yeah, man, just overall, it's ridiculous that we have to have a debate about whether or not, like, my stance. It is obviously it's very, very possible for the Democrats to have cheated Donald Trump. Like, I cannot stress how very possible it is, because once again, you'd be hard pressed to convince me that they went out of their way to cheat. I mean, not just Bernie, they went out of their way to cheat everybody who was even considered to be a progressive in that race. But they are technically on the team of Democrats. So you're trying to tell me they wouldn't cheat the guy that they literally spent the last 3 years trying to commit a soft coup of, like, via Russiagate? Are you kidding me?
And the teeth of Russiagate is what? That Donald Trump colluded with the Russians to fix an election.
It's a goofy ass.
We say this, now we're conspiracy theorists.
It's a bad plot in the worst type of 007 movie. It really is. Yeah. And yet they're going to look at you and say, well, election fraud doesn't happen. It can't possibly happen. And by the way, let's trust the results of this system and the judiciary, which, by the way, are almost exclusively federal judges making these decisions, knowing that these federal judges are now going to be at the beck and call of the Biden administration. And if they don't play ball, they will lose their jobs. And people don't understand shit like that. That's how they maintain power, is by like, yeah, your DA is an elected office. Your district judge is an elected office. The federal judge is not an elected office. The U.S. attorney is not an elected office. That is an appointment. You think that these judges are going to put themselves in any type of danger to be fired by the Biden administration when they know that the one thing that they do is not going to overturn the entire election. So they might as well just stay in line. That's what happens in these circumstances. This is what happens with the criminal justice system. And if you can't trust the judiciary system in the criminal justice system, why would you trust the judiciary system in any other aspect of justice? And like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and all the Democrats now all of a sudden are big believers in the judiciary system, right?
Yeah,
the system that they bag on all the time, that it's unjust, it's racist, it's terrible, the judicial system's terrible, and now it's like, well, you know, Donald Trump got all these cases thrown out, and nobody knows better than you, Niko. You're to blame for my craziness of watching these hearings and this election integrity is because the case that you brought forth in Florida, where they admitted in person that they can go into the back room filled with cigar smoke and pick whoever they want. Well, why did they dismiss that case? Not on standing. And that's what they're going to do with all these other cases. They don't want to touch these cases. So people standing behind that is a reason why the election was actually real and was free, fair, and transparent. The results are actually legit.
It was just jurisdiction.
Said not on standing. They didn't want to look at the evidence.
It was jurisdictional, and that was it. And they even said that actually 2 of our classes had legitimate grievances, but because one of them we couldn't exactly they couldn't. That's what they said anyway, right? They said that they couldn't determine whether or not the jurisdiction was legitimate. That's why they dismissed the entire case. It was basically bullshit. Okay. Yeah. And of course, once again, the DNC fraud lawsuit goes to the Supreme Court. And right as Joe Biden wins the nomination, guess who gets the case to determine whether or not it will be heard by all the judges? Clarence Thomas. Exactly. Bruh. Exactly. Like, I'm sure that's a coincidence, right? I'm sure it's a coincidence. So like, I don't want to hear about the judiciary system that has almost always they've always gotten rid of these political lawsuits. Whether you do it in advance, whether you do it, and I'm not saying don't keep pressing the system, because eventually one does get through. Pasa can speak about a couple of victories that he saw. We saw Tim Canova, get Brenda Snipes convicted of destroying ballots in his race against Debbie Wasserman Schultz. So some of these things do work out, but like, just because a blind squirrel found a nut today doesn't mean he's going to find one for the rest of the week. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I don't want. It's just a bunch of hypocrisy going on. I don't want to hear these Bernie supporters who are very like, oh yeah, 100%, yeah, we know Bernie got cheated, and then like the moment that Democrats who have made it very clear, we like with the Transitional Integrity Project, like they made it very clear, we are willing to do whatever the fuck it takes to get Donald Trump out the White House, even if we have to do something illegal, even if we have to commit treason to do it.
They wouldn't stop nonstop 4 years with Russiagate. What makes you think? And this coming to Jesus moment, we see they cheat time again. And somebody just put something interesting up on the chat over here. Was it at ARM? It says during Democrats were begged to legislate election integrity during Obama's presidency, but they refused. Yep. Even Amy Klobuchar and what's her name? Greenbaum's Warren were talking about these machines being so wrong, and we ignored. Joe Biden talked about the system. We put a little clip up there about, the way we shouldn't have software out there that is owned by other companies that we can't see what's going on. I mean, this is something that's not new. And since the 2016 elections, things have gotten worse. They haven't gotten better. They have more ways to hide their nefariousness. And I mean, and you're going to sit here and say that you're going to stand behind these results as legit, that there's no way in your mind when you don't even understand voting patterns. You don't even understand how the system works. Like, these people really think they're being told by Chris Cuomo that mail-in ballots favor Democrats over Republicans. They haven't historically. Historically, older people, which tend to be more conservative, have requested mail-in ballots over younger people. Younger people like to go out, get their sticker, do it, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
get their sticker.
They don't even understand what's going on.
Will hit you with the OK Boomer right there.
They don't understand how the votes are counted, Niko. They don't. They really think that all the mail-ins come in last. No.
Yeah, I know. Like, no, that would be absurd. We showed you a video of 2 million freaking mail-in ballots 2 weeks before the Los Angeles elections have been processed through the machines. There's a whole lawsuit on it. Okay.
People don't know what the hell's going on.
Oh, jeez, we done got Pasta started, y'all. Hold up, Pasta. Hold up, Trap. Let me. I want to show them this. Just Sam Cedar exposing himself. So y'all know that me and Pasta were both at the Force to Vote rally. We both spoke there. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. It was great connecting with a lot of these progressives that we hadn't met before, and especially given, just the circumstances of the last year. It was good to kind of be reunited with everybody and then meet some new faces. But, people like Sam Cedar didn't like Force the Vote. He didn't like it at first. Then AOC